One of these things doesn't belong. Can you tell me which one doesn't belong? There is one. I wonder, is it this one? Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, September the 9th, 2024, and it's vlog number 375. So, what have I been up to this week? Well, lots of things have been happening around here, and lots of things I've acquired, and we're going to talk all about that in a moment. But first, some of my current projects, which are things that I will talk about in more detail tomorrow on the episode of Idiot Quilter. But just as a little sneak peek, these are Stephanie Stitch's Cozy Star Quilt Sew Along. These are 12 of the blocks. There is a total of 16. So there's 2 more double block sets to go. In fact, I may start the first one of those today. And then come next Sunday, Stephanie's going to talk about assembling the whole quilt together. And I'm really loving how this is coming together. And yeah, I'll say more about it, as I said, tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. And another project that I have completed in time for Halloween. This one you've heard me talk about at various stages. This is the Happy Halloween applique in the hoop applique quilt. It is now completed. I have it quilted, but I ran into some really idiot mistakes on this. All my own. That's why I call them idiot mistakes. And tomorrow, if you want to know about them, I'm going to talk about them in detail and point them out to you. But right now, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? We shall see. Okay, and this one was another sew along with Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches, and this is the Tracy Perks in Pieces quilt. Her quilts are really easy if you've never done one. They're great, great designs, go together quickly, and this one's completely done, and I have it all quilted. I'm going to discuss my quilting design again in detail tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. Okay, so those are some of the things I've been up to, and I've been up to a few other things too, as you will find out. But first of all, let's talk about the channel of the week. This one is by someone I'm sure you know who this person is. He's the most famous of all drag queens, probably in history, RuPaul. And he does have a very successful show, which I have to admit I only have watched bits and pieces of over the years. I don't know how many seasons it's got, but it's got a lot of seasons. And he's won Emmy Awards for it as well, and that's, of course, RuPaul's Drag Race. But what's behind the makeup and in terms of what's kind of lifestyle does he live when he's not on camera? Well, RuPaul is RuPaul. He's fabulous on camera, and he's fabulous off camera, and his home reflects this. And this is what this video is about. So here is a little bit of a review of that particular YouTube video. This week's YouTube video is one from somebody that I'm sure if you've ever watched Drag Race, you know exactly who it is, and that's RuPaul. And this is RuPaul's mansion in Beverly Hills. And, well, using one of his words, it's absolutely fabulous. But it's really interesting to see these kind of things, how the rich and the famous really live, because definitely in this example, it is over the top. And this is part of a channel called Architectural Digest that has a lot of celebrity homes that they open the doors to the public to see what their lifestyle is like. And I can't imagine living in anything like this for a number of reasons. I mean, for those of you that are into closets, oh my God, RuPaul's closet, well, he said he converted 2 bedrooms over for a walk-in closet. So that gives you an indication of what you can see there. So if you want something that's entertaining, interesting, and just a little over the top, check out Inside RuPaul's Fabulous Beverly Hills Mansion. So if you want to see some things that are over the top, and I wouldn't say that they're tacky, they're not my style, but it's a little bit more tasteful than I thought RuPaul would be. But then again, usually as a drag queen, and he did model, he does have some taste. Okay? All right, but you be the judge when you see the video. Okay, so you'll find a link for that video in the show notes below. You'll also find a link for the Idiot Quilter Pop-Up Sew Day. And that Pop-Up Sew Day is this coming Saturday, September the 14th, starting at 8 a.m. Those of you that are on my mailing list will get an email. You probably already have it by the time you have seen this with the link in it. But the link is always in my show notes the week before in all of my videos, and you will find that link, as I said, in the show notes below for this as well, and hope to see you there. And it's also a double whammy weekend, because my pop-up sew day is on Saturday, but my good friend Russ of Quilt Meets World, he has decided to run a sew day himself as well. This is going to be his first official sew day. Details for it and the Zoom link, it will also be a Zoom, are coming out on his weekly vlog on Wednesday. So be sure to tune into that. I believe he said it's going to start at about 9:30 and run till about 4:30, or it might have been 9 o'clock. But I'm sure all of that information will be in his show notes on his vlog on Wednesday, so check it out. So it's going to be a weekend of lots of fun of sewing. And of course, there are links for all my usual things. There's a link for Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, which is Wednesday. We will be without Stephanie on Wednesday. That's not an excuse for you to just leave. I know you want to. I know you're disappointed that it's just going to be me there. Boo-hoo. But no, Stephanie is off to a retreat. It's her retreat. It's her retreat. I believe it's in Pennsylvania. And I'm hoping she has a really great time and it's a big success. Well, I know it's going to be a big success because Stephanie's retreats are always wonderful. And I know that from firsthand experience. So yeah, so we'll be missing Stephanie, although she said she might try to make a little pop-in appearance at some point in that day. And she may also be able to do that when we're having the pop-up sew day as well. So we may get to say hi anyways, or have Stephanie say hi. So all is not lost. And let's see, there are other links. Now, there is a very important link in this week's links, so don't miss it. I have put up a special video about my fall retreat, the Idiot Quilter Fall 2024 Retreat, to give it its official title. This is a free event. I throw one of these twice a year, one in the spring, one in the fall. It is a little bit more elaborate than a pop-up sew day. There are prizes, lots of prizes. And it fills up very quickly. All the details about it are in that video. You don't need to take notes because all you need to do is go into the show notes for that video and just copy and paste into a word processor of your choice, and you'll have all this information at your fingertips. Those of you on my mailing list will be getting an announcement about it sometime later today as well. And pay particular attention to when registration starts. Yes, you have to register for this, but it is free. Registration reserves your spot, and I talk all about that and how it's done and why I do it and all kinds of other little goodies, because there are other little goodies involved with this, all in that video. So be sure to watch that video as soon as you possibly can, because registration starts in about, well, less than a month. In less than a month. Yeah, and you know how time goes. It flies. And if you want to really come to it, you have to reserve your spot. It fills up very, very quickly. Okay, so what else is in the show notes links? Well, there's links also to all of my past videos in the last week. So everything is there at your fingertips. If you're new to my channel, I produce a lot of videos in a week. And each one has a little different bend to it. So, yeah, it's there for you to enjoy. All right. So let's take a look at the weather, shall we? What's it looking like outside today? Well, here's this morning at about 6:45. I got up a little later today. Last couple of days I have been. I wake up around 5. I'm up and out of bed by 5:30, and I'm back at it by 6. Running a little slow the last couple of days. I don't know why that is. Well, I've had a few late nights. Very late nights. So actually more about one of my late nights, which was Saturday, in a bit. But yeah, this was looking like outside. Now, according to my weather app, just let me grab my weather app. It says that right now it's 13 degrees C, but we're going to have a high today of 20 degrees, which is a little cooler. So, you know, the fall is approaching us. However, that's still not cold. Now, however, during the rest of the week, it's going up each day. Tomorrow it's supposed to be a high of 23, then 24, then 26 and 27, and back to 26 and 25. But then looking right up into a week from this Wednesday, everything is in the mid 20s to high 20s. So summer's not over yet. Yay! It means I don't have to wear long pants for a while. I hate having to make the switch from shorts to long pants, and I especially hate having to put back on regular shoes, because as soon as the weather is warm enough, I'm living in my sandals. I love my sandals. So yeah, and what about rain? Well, today there's a 60% chance of rain, but every day else there's a few days where it's cloudy, or partially cloudy, but most of it the sun is out. So yeah, summer is still not gone, and I'm happy about that. I know a lot of people love the fall, love the colors. Apparently the trees may change in certain areas, like north of us, maybe right here, already have started to change a little bit. But that has nothing, they said that just has to do with the amount of moisture we've had this year, and in some areas, and we've had a lot this past summer. And they say that has an effect on the root systems and for some reason it's the tree's reaction to that. I don't know. I'm not a botanist or a arborist or whatever you want to call people that look after trees. So yeah, and although it will be very pretty, you know that color only lasts for a very, very, very short time, and then you get up the next day and it's like you can almost hear the leaves have suddenly just gone poof. And it's the dreary parts of the year before we get, you know, light fluffy snowflakes and everything looks like a fairyland. Yeah, this is Canada. Fairyland looks don't happen often. Again, the snow just comes and goes poop, and suddenly we're buried. Well, we'll see. Can't do anything much about it, right? So we'll just have to live with it. But I'm happy that the weather is still going to be warm for a little bit of time. Okay, it also means that I'll have to switch over to long sleeve shirts. And I love Walter's shirts that he makes for me, but I only have one long sleeve shirt that Walter has made for me. And yeah, I need more. Now, he says he's going to make a few. Thing is, I don't think he likes making long sleeve shirts. They take longer and there's some extra steps having to do with the cuffs and things like that. And speaking of that, I'm trying to talk Walter into helping me develop another series for So Chatty where I learn how to make a shirt. We'll see. We'll see. He's a little reluctant about it, but at the same time, he has a sadistic pleasure in watching me fail. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, I got a little off topic because that's stuff that pertains more to the Idiot Quilter and So Chatty, not this vlog. But moving on. So as I said, all the links for the past week's videos are there for you. And why am I backing up? I just showed you outside. I'm going backwards. It might be the extra shot of espresso that I had my coffee maker do for me this morning. Lately, my coffee hasn't been tasting all that strong. It's the same beans. Excuse me. So I forgot that my machine has this ability to give you an extra shot. So I tried that, and yes, I think I like that. It is, but I guess it's more caffeine. Do I need more caffeine? Yes, I do. Okay, so what's pissing me off this week? Memory problems. Mm-hmm. This has me worried. On a more serious note here, it does have me worried. I mean, I'm 67 years old. Yeah, I'm not old. Okay, and I know there's many of you out there that are my regular subscribers, and you've told me how old you are, and I find it amazing that there are people on here up in their 80s. Some of you, some close to 90, and you're still going strong. And that gives me absolute inspiration. Like, age is just a number, kind of a thing. But we do know that as our bodies age and our minds age, there are things that can happen to you. Now, my father had dementia. And I think dementia can be inherited. So that scares me. And one of the things with my dad was his memory. Of course, there's Alzheimer's as well, right? We hear about this stuff constantly. But here's what I'm talking about. I forget things. Sometimes it's something very simple, and I think all of us have suffered from this one. You walk into a room and you think, why am I here? Why did I come in here? I came in here for something specific, and now I don't remember what I'm looking for. Or you open up the fridge door and do something similar. I'm looking for something here. What was I looking for? This happens to Walter as well, and I know that this happens to many people, and I am finding out that it happens to people at various ages. So it may not necessarily be a sign of something wrong with you or part of the aging process. Okay, I can live with that. But I don't remember things from the past like I once did. Walter has a great memory for things like that. And for example, it might be as simple as I say to him, oh, here's a movie on Netflix. That sounds interesting. He says, we saw that. I said, no, we didn't. He says, yes, we did. We saw it a couple of weeks ago. And I look at it and I go, I have no recollection of that whatsoever. So, I mean, in some ways, it gives you a lot of things to view, because if you don't remember them before, it's new to you then, isn't it? But that's kind of scary. I remember things from my past, from my childhood. I remember things, from a few weeks ago. But it's the little details. Like my grandmother, one of my grandmothers, she had a memory like a steel trap. She could remember things that happened 30, 40, 50 years ago on the day of, and she could tell you what the weather was on that particular day. Now, maybe in the modern age, because we are so technologically aware and using, technology in all walks of our life to assist us with lots of things, maybe our brains have become lazy. And maybe we don't retain that information we did because we know we can find it on our computer. We'll just Google it. Maybe that's it. Or I sometimes think is, at least in my case, I have so many things going through my mind at any given moment. And I do consider myself a creative, and I do have a creative mind. And I have a vivid imagination. I've always had one of those. And I am constantly answering the question for myself, what if? Which is basically speculation. And my brain is always working on those speculation. So I say, well, my brain can only hold so much information. So what it holds is the stuff that's important. The other stuff goes out the window. That's my theory. I don't know. It makes me feel better when I think of it that way. But I don't know. So back to this, I don't remember the movie, and he does. And then sometimes even when I start watching the movie, I still don't remember it. So that's kind of scary. I don't remember names. We went to my high school reunion, and there were a few people I spoke to, or they came and spoke to me. I don't know who they were. I don't remember them at all. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But I also know that I've heard other people say the same thing. I've never been good with names, though. But I usually can remember faces. But even that seems to be fading these days. Someone looks familiar, but I can't place it. So that's kind of scary as well. Um, so I guess what I'm worried about is this a sign of aging? And to a certain degree, I think it is. But I'm wondering, am I the only person going through this? You know, misery loves company. Um, so, and I'm sure other people are. But as an individual, it's very, very scary. This is what can make you feel your age, I think. And I don't want to feel my age. I have many, many things yet to do in my life and to accomplish. I am not just going to roll over and drop dead. So, how do you battle this? Well, we got talking about this a little bit yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live. I make lists. I'm a real list maker. I always have been. Lists help me to stay organized. It helps me to get a perspective on what I need to do, what's important to do, what isn't so important, so I don't feel overwhelmed. And if I need to remember something, I reach for technology. I reach for this, my iPhone. And I have a section that's called Notes. And they're all organized in there under headings and things like that. I have a calendar, several calendars in here, and I immediately, if it's something I want to remember, like for example, if I get an idea for something or whatever, I will put it into this. The beauty of having this as an iPhone and having a Mac computer is they seamlessly connect to each other. So whatever I put on this, it goes automatically to my Mac and I can find it on my Mac. So I am never without my iPhone. And I love it. Now, again, I said earlier in my little rant here that maybe we're too reliant upon technology and maybe that's why our memories are going. I don't know. But either way, it is a tool and I intend to use it. You know, I think to past generations in my family, when they were starting to lose their memories and things like that, maybe they wouldn't have, or at least if they'd had something like this in their generation, maybe it would have been a help. So, you know, we can poo-pah technology all we want, but the fact is we are a society that needs it, that uses it. It's not going to go away. So we should use it to help ourselves. And if it helps my memory, that's a good thing. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. I don't know if I can remember anything else to say about it. And, you know, luckily this is on video and I'll have a record of it in the past because I'll probably forget. Okay, moving on. What's happening with our grow lights and things like that? Well, nothing under the grow lights. We got to get on with that. Yeah, it's September. It's time to start doing the indoor gardening where we've got to make up our minds as to what it is we really want to put in. And it's the same with our outdoor garden. And this is some pictures of it now. Now, right now, it's looking refreshed. This is our spinach and our, I think that's spinach in the center. I don't think we ever harvested any of that. We did that as an experiment. And, you know, spinach, it cooks right down, so you need a lot more than that. But I see my hot peppers. I've got lots of those. I think I'll pickle them. I'm into this pickling thing right now. We've got another little crop of lettuce. And the thing about lettuce we have found is lettuce likes the weather a little cooler. It does. It thrives in slightly cooler weather than, you know, scorching sunshine. Our tomato plants are pretty much, there's still a few things on them, and we still have some green peppers coming along. But yeah, it's the end of the season for those. Oh, I noticed there's a tomato sitting up on top of the deck railing when I took this picture. Now, did Walter put that there or did one of the squirrels? The squirrels will do that. They taunt us. They will take a tomato off the vine. They'll hop up onto that deck railing, take one bite, and then run away and leave it there to rot. It's like they're saying, ha ha. So, yeah. The basil's looking very nice. I really wish we could bring the basil indoors. Well, we grow it under lights, and it does very well under lights. But bringing the basil in, I tried that, and maybe other people have better luck with that, but I didn't. And it also brought in some little bugs. too, the little gnats. I think we have the gnat situation under control right now, but that's because Walter cleaned out all of the grow lights, including the earth. He got rid of it all because his theory is those gnats are coming in on the soil. And the soil is like commercially bagged soil. But he's going to do something when he puts the soil in before he plants anything to see if that will keep down the gnat problem, or whatever you call them, the little bugs. Because yeah, it's a pain in the butt. But anyways, I'm sad to see the garden grow or go, because I always like it. You know, it looks so nice on the deck in the summertime, and it's nice to eat things that are fresh that you grew yourself. And we're thinking next year we won't put in maybe as many tomato plants and maybe just stick to cherry tomatoes. I'd like to put in cucumbers again, maybe a couple of pots of cucumbers, because those, we didn't get a lot of them, but they did okay in the pots. And well, we did have a variety they were a bush cucumber, they called them. But they were a good size and they were fine for eating. We'll probably put in lettuce again as well. I'd like to put in maybe more hot peppers because, you know, now that I've done a little bit of pickling with them, that's turned out pretty good. So I'd like to do that again. So we'll see. That'll be another year. So anyways, I'll keep you posted on the death on the deck, as I'll call it now, as our plants die for the winter, which is always sad. Okay, so that takes me to new products. Well, tomorrow on the Quilter, I'm going to show you what $750 of wide back fabric looks like. 11 different fabrics, 3 meters of each. It was a sale, and we're going to talk all about that. But the other thing is I bought another new 3D printer. Now you're going to say, but wait, didn't you just buy one a week and a half ago? Yes, I did. So you're saying, but why then did you buy another one? Are 5 not enough? No. Actually, 5 are enough. But what I'm doing is I'm replacing my oldest printers with these new ones that I love so much that you've heard me talk about before. The Creality Ender 3 version 3 KE models. I love those printers. And I had one last week, one of my older printers, the version 2s, was giving me pain in the butt. I just could not get it to print properly. I know if I spent a lot more time on it, there is one part I probably need to replace, and I have the part here. But I said to myself, yeah, but you know, lately every time you go to print, you have to fiddle about before you get the print you want. Whereas with the KE, knock wood so far, I don't have to do any of that. They're not expensive machines. They're under $400 Canadian. So I bought one. So I now have 4 of those machines, and in another couple of weeks, I think I'll probably replace the last version 2 with a version 3 KE, and there they are. But now I have a new dilemma. What do I do with the older printers? They will still work. Now, immediately what comes to mind is donate them to a library or to a public school. Yes, I could do that, but they don't want them. They don't want them because they don't want to have to fiddle with them. They want them up and running so that the people, the students in the school and the people come to the library can go in and use them. And you can't at this point in time with those 2 machines. They'd have to have somebody on their staff who, one, knows how to adjust them and who is willing to spend the time to fiddle about with them. So I know they're not going to be of any use to those kind of institutions. I could put them up on something like Kijiji or that and just give them to somebody for nothing, and I'm still playing with that idea. But again, if I did that, I'd have to tell people, okay, this is the state that they're in. Yours for nothing, take it away. Or I can examine what parts are salvageable from those machines that I can use with the newer machines, because there are some parts that are common, and just strip them down save those pieces, those parts, and just get rid of the rest of them at the dump. Put them in their recycling of metal and things like that. I don't know. I haven't made a decision yet. I'm going to have to make that decision very soon because right now those two printers are sitting out in the Lucy room. And I just cleaned up Lucy room. And what happens after you clean up something? You find more storage space and you fill it. Well, that's what I'm doing, and I don't want to do that because they're taking up valuable real estate. So, yeah, that's the dilemma. This is the problem with modern technology, isn't it? You're going to be replacing it all the time, but what do you do with the old stuff? That's the dilemma. But anyways, yep, I have a new 3D printer. So that takes me to my segment on can I print this 3D effing thing? And yeah, I thought you'd like to see, I love printing Halloween decorations and Christmas decorations, seasonal stuff on my 3D printers. And I print a lot. So every year I have more and more 3D printed decorations. And Halloween, I have lots of things. So I thought I would show you some of the little Halloween things I made. So I made a little video clip, and I'm going to insert that for you right here now. The thing that's great about 3D printers is you can make seasonal decor. Little things that you can put out during, say, Halloween or Christmas or Easter, that kind of thing. And they're fun to make, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different things that you can find online for free that you can print with your 3D printer. So I love printing Halloween items, and here's a few selections of what I'm talking about. We have the cats with witches' hats, which are always lots of fun. Then we have this style of cat, which is the spooky ghost cat. And speaking of ghosts, we do have ghosts as well, as you can see. And you can make them in various sizes depending on what you want to do with them. So that's one of the things. That's fun, but still there is more. Of course, there's always the monsters you can make, like you can make this creepy witch here, or you can make Frankenstein, of course. This one says Frank on it. And the little mugs that look like Frankenstein as well. These are great for holding candies and treats in them. And of course, what's Halloween decor without your ominous black raven or blackbird or black crow? So all of these things can be made as well. And I was talking about if you size them up, like for example, Frankenstein here, you could do a real fun thing with that, with a couple of those in different sizes or a little bit larger, sitting on your, say, if you have a fireplace, a mantelpiece, that kind of thing. So they're kind of fun and creepy, but not creepy in a scary way, just a creepy in a fun way. And of course, what's Halloween without a few skulls hanging around? And you can see these ones are made in such a way that you could put candy in them, or you can put a light in them. They're kind of fun. And when you use the colored filaments, especially the colored filament that changes color as the light hits it, like this one, they offer a little bit of an eerie glow. Of course, you have the little skull. Everybody needs a little skull. And I mean, alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. And you know where that's from. And isn't it fun to have a little bit of candy on a side table in a skull container? So yeah, lots of things you can do with that. You can also create yourself a little mini Halloween village as well. Of course, you have to have your scary pumpkins. Again, many of these things are designed so that you can put a little light in them. They'll have a hole in the bottom for a little electric tea light or whatever. I really like these. These are fun. They don't light up, but you could put a string of fairy lights in around them. And so you've got your haunted mansions. And you'll notice that these are two colors. And the way I did that was I just simply used I think I used a Sharpie or something like that and just went over them. So yeah, these are all lots of fun as well too. And you can set up a whole little scene, Halloween pumpkins, the houses, things like that. And if you're not into Halloween, or you would also like some decor just for fall or for Thanksgiving, now here in Canada we celebrate Thanksgiving in October. as opposed to the Americans having it at the tail end of November. So sometimes I incorporate into my fall decorating some Halloween and some things like this, the turkeys. And you can have a lot of fun with colors with the turkey. You're not going for realism here. And so in this case, this turkey's done in two different colors of PLA, a filament. Then there's sort of the comical turkeys as well. And you can do those in various sizes. And you can also make some napkin rings as well. And I'm making a whole bunch of these, and I'm going to make some Thanksgiving napkins as well, and put them in those holders, and those look really nice on a place setting. So yeah, Halloween decor is not the only thing for this time of the year. You can do some general fall theme kind of things too. And you're not limited to just turkeys. There's all kinds of different things that you can create. So yeah, 3D printer for home decor, seasonal home decor, great idea. Okay, so we've been talking about Halloween, which is a fall thing. We've talked about the leaves turning color, which is a fall thing. And we've been talking about the weather, which, moving into fall thing. So I have an old video from about 11 years ago where I did something very interesting with fall leaves. I laminated them. Yes, I have a laminator. The kind of thing that you put a piece of paper or whatever through and it puts plastic on either side, seals it all up. I've had one of those for years. Walter bought it for me, 30 years ago, probably. And as a school teacher, this was one of my favorite tools. I used it a lot. I don't use it much anymore. In fact, it's away in a cupboard, but I will not get rid of it because every now and then I have a need to laminate. And how I love to experiment with technology. Well, at the time, I thought, can I laminate other things besides just paper? Yes, I can. And so this is what this video is about, where I took some leaves that had turned color. And remember as kids when we used to wax them? You got 2 sheets of wax paper, you put the leaves in between, you used a hot iron and pressed them, and it laminated the leaves, or it covered them basically in wax, kind of a thing. And then we used them in some art project in school or something like that, right? Well, this is kind of the more modern way to do it. And I can tell you one thing. In this video, you'll see how I do it. But I have laminated leaves that I made into a grouping with a magnet on the back of them as a fridge magnet, and they're sitting on one of our older fridges down here, and they have been there for probably 30 years and still look as beautiful as the day I laminated them. You won't get that with the waxed ones. So anyways, I thought you'd be interested in seeing a video that I put out 11 years ago about this technique.
Hi everybody, it's Stephen of Bland Designs, and I haven't made a video in a while, so I'm just catching up here now. I've been away, second half of September. I was away for 2 weeks, went on a cruise from England to France to Spain to Portugal. It was kind of a wine cruise, visited several wineries in both France and in Spain and in Portugal, and that was really a great time. I've also been working on my second workshop that I'm going to be giving to my retired teacher friends. If you remember, there's a short video clip of the last one that I gave. And this one's a Christmas themed one, so I am going to do a video to show you the projects we're going to be making at that one. Today's project, I want to show you how you can take advantage of the fall colors and collect some leaves and use an old technique in a modern way. The old technique was we used to take leaves, pick them up, and wax them. We used to put them between 2 sheets of wax paper with an iron and make them last for a long time, kind of a thing. Well, I've updated that technique by using my hot laminator. And I'm going to show you 5 different things you can do with laminated leaves that bring a little bit of the fall color into your home. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is how to laminate leaves. All right? So here's my leaves right here. And these just came from my front lawn. I have a small maple tree in the front of it. And I just picked them up off the lawn and I laminate them. Now, there is a trick to this I found. I had to do some experimentation. This time of the year, the leaves, when you pick them up off your lawn, are going to be moist. There's still like fluids inside of them. So you want to get rid of that first before you do the lamination. Otherwise, the laminate will not adhere to the leaf. The laminate is actually a plastic, and I'm talking about a hot laminating machine. I'm not sure how this will work in one of those cold laminating machines. Everything I'm referring to is a hot laminator. The laminate, what it actually does is it penetrates into the paper. Usually it's what you're laminating is paper, in this case the leaves, to make a bond, a seal. Now if there's moisture in your leaf, you're going to get a little foggy part. Actually this one, you can't see it on camera I'm sure, but this one actually has a little foggy area on the one side because it wasn't quite dried out enough. This is one of my first attempts. What you need to do is you need to iron them. Now, if you're familiar with hot laminators, most of them come with what they call a traveling packet, which is like this. It's just 2 sheets of paper, basically, and the lamination sheet goes in between. What I did was I put a piece of parchment paper on the inside of this. I laid my leaf onto the parchment paper, put another sheet of parchment paper over top of it, put it down, and using a hot iron, not set on steam, just the hottest temperature, basically, I pressed down on the leaf. And you can actually hear, if you listen carefully, the moisture inside the leaf sort of evaporating. It sounds like it's steaming, sort of a thing. And I went over it several times until I felt that it was pretty much as dry as you're going to get it. Now, when you take it out after you've done that, the leaf will be a little brittle, so you want to handle it carefully. The next thing you do is you get your laminate sheet. And in the case of my laminator, the sheets that I buy are sort of a little pocket. And you just place your dried leaves inside this. Get in as many as you can, but don't let them touch. Because if you let them touch, they're going to stick together, laminate, and then you got a problem. Put the sheet down, and then place it in the traveler packet, and then run it through your laminator. Now, you're going to have to run your laminator at the highest setting, so make sure it's well warmed up. I let mine warm up for about 10-15 minutes, and I put it on the highest setting for the heat, and it's also usually the slowest setting too for pulling the sheet through the laminator. You're going to have to run it through several times, and what I do is I run it through a couple of times one way, and then I flip it over and I run it through a couple of more times the other way. Now I check it, and before I'm finished with the laminator, I just take a look here to see if there's any moisture spots, and if there are, I'll run it through a couple of more times. I usually find I have to run it through my laminator probably 4 to 6 times before it's all the moisture has been absorbed. And that's why that first stage with the iron is very important. Otherwise, you're going to get pockets of air created by the moisture and your laminate's not going to stick. Okay? So once you've done that, you take out the laminated sheet and then you just simply take a pair of scissors and cut them out all the way around. And then, just as an extra safeguard or precaution for this, you want to leave about 1/8 of an inch of laminate all around the edge of the leaves when you cut them. But I take them again and put them in the traveler after I've cut them out and run them through a couple of more times through the hottest setting in the laminator just to make sure everything is well sealed. All right? So that's all there is to laminating the leaves. And these are going to last a long time. I have some that I did over 10 years ago that I actually use as a wall display, and they're perfect. They're just as the same as they were the very first day. Actually, in some ways, I think that's better than waxing them, because with the waxing them, they will become brittle over time. Whereas with the laminator, well, who knows how long they're going to last. I pretty much figure forever. So, that's how I laminate the basic leaves. Now, what do you do with them once you have them laminated? Well, as I said, you can create a wall sculpture. This is not a wall sculpture. I have a much bigger one, but basic technique is the same. I can't show you the one that's on the wall because I can't get it off the wall. So what you do is you just layer the leaves together and glue them down. Now, I have found that the best glue to use for this, it takes longer to dry, but it holds the best, is Classy Accents. This glue seems to hold everything really, really well. It will take overnight to dry, so be patient with your project. You can use a hot glue gun if you wish. The only problem I find with hot glue guns, and I don't know if it's because of the type of glue sticks that I'm buying, but the strings, you know, the hot glue strings, and I seem to get an awful lot of those, and they're on everything, and I spend more time picking the strings off than the time I took to heat up the gun and glue the things. Also, because laminate is a plastic, it will melt the plastic, and it can, not that that's going to be a problem if you're not going to see that part of it, but I just don't like it as well. I just find glossy accents much better. Okay, so as I said, you can layer the leaves in a pattern whichever way you want, and you can make it as big as you want. All it depends on the leaves. This one has a variety of leaves. And what I've also done, so the first technique is you can make a very nice looking wall display. Next technique is do the same technique, make it a little smaller, put a magnet on the back, and guess what? You've got a fridge magnet for holding notes or whatever you want. So that's technique number 2. Technique number 3, really simple. You want a bookmark? You got a bookmark. You can use these as a bookmark. Now in a moment I'm going to show you something else that can make the bookmark a little bit upgraded a little bit, I guess you would say. But simple bookmark. The other thing you can do with them, coaster. There you go. Great. Now, maybe not so great on something really hot. All right, I wouldn't recommend it on that because the plastic, although it's very, once it's gone through the laminator, it's fairly heat resistant. Something really hot that sits on for a while is going to leave at least an impression or a mark on it. So more for your cold drinks. But think about this: your dining room table. You're having guests over for a dinner party. You want a fall theme. Wouldn't this be nice under their wine glasses? Here's a bigger one. Just that added little touch to your table. All right, so that's 3 techniques. Wall display, fridge magnet, coaster. What did I leave out? Oh, bookmarks, that's 4. Now my 5th one, and this is the one I'm most excited about, is my note holder. This is my note holder, okay? Now, same technique. You take 3 leaves, 4 leaves, whatever you want, laminate them together. Let's take one out here. I use basically 3 leaves. So glue them down using glossy accents again for this kind of thing. Let them dry overnight. And then while that's drying, get yourself one of these. It's a binder clip. This is a small one. You can use whatever size you want. It depends on how big your leaf display is going to be. And you take another leaf, one that's laminated, or in this case, I had bought at the dollar store some of these little silk leaves, almost look like the real thing. I bought these because they had more color in them than the leaves that I was using, so I just thought it would spruce it up. And you glue the binder clip, you just flip it over, put little glossy accents on it again, here, take one of the little prongs, and just glue it right to the back of that. Again, you're going to let this sit overnight. Then when that's dry, you can glue it, and let's pretend that we've got the leaf on here, but you basically take the other clip and glossy accents and glue it here. So what you have is what you see here. So if you see, I have the little clip right there, you know, so I can open it and close it. And then I found these little fancy, I found these at the dollar store as well. They're Post-it notes. I just took a few out, and you just clip them. And you can use any style of Post-it note or any kind of note paper you want. And now you've got a notepad, which when you put a couple of magnets on the back, and you'll notice that magnets are different on this one than the ones that I used on this. That was a big one that you cut out from, you know, it's got paper on one side. You can put it through your printer and put a design on it. I found these magnets online, and they're super strong. They're very small, they're very flat, but they're very, very strong. They hold very well to a metal surface, like a refrigerator. And I use glossy accents, pardon my tongue-tiedness, and glued them to that, and just let those dry overnight. So now, you can hang this on your fridge. You can write your notes. You can take your notes off. It's refillable. You can put another pad in. I've actually made 4 of these For my workshop for my retired teacher friends, I'm giving each one of them that as a little takeaway gift from the workshop. So that's the other technique. Now, I mentioned that something about this that you could also use with a single leaf as a bookmark. You can do the same process with the little clip, glue it to the back of this, and then you have a little clip that you can clip to the actual pages or to a group of pages if you want to mark a spot with them. Just holds it into the book a little bit better. Okay, so those are 5 different techniques that you can use with the leaves that you find in your yard or wherever, laminating them and making them into these great little projects. So I hope you really like this video. Send me your comments, and later on I'm going to show you another video where I have used these clips for something to do with your old Christmas cards, and I call them fascinators. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of fascinators that one wears on their head. Okay? Something different. So stay tuned for that video. Hope you have a good day. Bye for now.
And just as a side note, you may have noticed there was an intro for that video, which was, I think, one of my earliest videos where I used an intro. I was playing with, the technology and how to do that kind of a thing. So that's a blast from the past as well. Okay, so events in the past week. Speaking of the past, I went to my 70th high school reunion. Now, just before you start trying to do the math here, it was not the 70 years since I graduated. It has been 48 years. I am the class of 76. But the 70th reunion was from the beginning of when the school I went to, the high school I went to, was built, which was built in 1954. I had some reservations about going to this because my high school experiences were not horrible, but were not great. I was an outsider in many ways. I wasn't part of any of the groups. I wasn't athletic, so I wasn't part of the jocks group. I probably could have been a mean girl, but because of my sex, they didn't let me in. I wasn't part of the posh kids. The ones who look down their noses at everybody else. Usually those include some of the jocks and some of the mean girls as well. If I was part of any group, I was probably part of the brainiacs or the nerds or whatever you want to call them. But I didn't have a lot of friends in high school. I wasn't antisocial. I just wasn't social, really. I was too busy studying and working. I had good marks, and I worked hard for that. So I didn't go to any parties. I didn't do the things that sometimes high school kids do, like go to a party and drink, or it was the 70s, or toke up, or anything like that. I was a goody-goody two-shoes. I made up for it in university, I can tell you that. But that's a story for another day. But anyways, off I went. I dragged my sister and her husband, Walter came too, with me. My sister graduated from the same high school, so yeah, she was there. But my sister was a very social butterfly in high school. And she knew everybody. But the weird thing was, at this school reunion, I didn't know anybody, really. There was only about one person I recognized, and it was kind of sad. He came dressed in an outfit with jail stripes on it. Look, and he had these big round glasses and a little toucan. I got thinking about it after the fact. It was kind of weird because this was not a costume party. And I heard his name and I thought, well, I remember him. And in fact, we weren't really good friends, but we were in the scouting movement together. And he was always a bit of a card. He was a nice guy. He was always a bit of a card in high school. It dawned on me later that the reason he came dressed like that was because he came as Where's Waldo? And I think the idea was, where is everybody from our days back in high school? Like we all look different. They all aged. I didn't, but we all look different. Yeah, right. So I think that's maybe what he was doing. I really regret this. I should have gone over and spoken to him, but there was one thing holding me back. One, I wasn't absolutely sure it was him because he looked so different. And he had a little notebook with him, and he was constantly making what looked like he was making notes. And a few people had gone up to him and were speaking to him. and whatnot, but they didn't hang around him very long. And I thought, oh, maybe this person isn't all there anymore. I found it, and what do you say to somebody like that? And I didn't. I'm chicken crap. So I found out later that he had had a stroke and he couldn't talk. That's why the notebook. Now I felt really bad that I didn't go over and speak to him. And I also feel bad because I think I put two and two together, and thinking about what he was like in the past, he was always a card, and I am sure that that's why he came dressed like he did. Oh well, on to happier things. There were door prizes, and we won. I won one. And it was a great door prize, and we showed it on Stephen and Walter Live. In fact, I didn't really know what it was. Oops, sorry. Thumbs up. I shouldn't move my thumbs. Oh, wait, I should do this. We were a winner. Yay! Okay. Enough of that. So, yeah, it was some kind of charger for your car. I don't know. The lady had two gifts in her hand, and she says, oh, you're a man. You'll like this. Okay. Holy stereotypes, Batman. But I said, okay, fine. And it didn't cost me anything. So I took her back to the table. Walter's eyes went really wide, and he got so excited. He says, it's a charger. He says, I was thinking of buying one of those. Apparently, it's this little box that you can it's got jumper cables. And you just, wherever you are, you can jump your car. You can also charge your cell phone or any other USB connected device to it. And he was just so excited. He says, you know how much one of these are? He said he priced them. They're $175. Although last week at Crappy Tire, they had them on sale for $150. And he said he almost bought one. Well, I said, Merry Christmas, happy birthday. It made him happy. So that was great. So that was a bonus. Three people came over to our table and sat down and and the first thing to say, and I hate this, we were talking about memory, things like that earlier. There were two guys and a woman, and the woman says to me, hi, Mr. Bland. Do you remember me? I don't lie anymore. I used to stumble my way through that kind of thing. I don't anymore. I go, no, I don't. Okay, did I go to school with you, or did I teach you? You see, this was my high school reunion, and I went there from 71 to 76 as a student, but I came back in 1981, and until 1992, or no, it was 1981 to 1992, I taught there. That was my first teaching job. I taught at my old high school for 11 years. Yeah. So she's, oh, no. And I looked at her, no, I don't think I went to school with you. You look a little younger than me. She says, no, you taught me. She says, you were my favorite teacher. Well, that makes you feel good. But what doesn't make you feel good is, and I says, I'm sorry, I still don't remember you. What's your name? And she said her name. She said her first name. And I said, okay, still not clicking a bell here for me, or ringing a bell for me. What's your last name? She gave me her last name. And yeah, nothing. Right out. And I said, I'm sorry. But one of the guys that she came along with, I did remember him. I did not recognize him because he looked totally different than when he was a kid. But I taught him, and I looked at him and says, oh, John. I said, are you still a prick? Or I said to him, you were a prick in high school when I taught you. And he goes, yeah, I was. And I said, are you still a prick? And he goes, yeah, I guess. Okay. Now, he was from my sister's years. And yes, my sister was going to high school when I started teaching at the same school. And anyways, he always was kind of interested in my sister. My sister was not interested in him. And he still was a little uncomfortable around my sister, made us feel a little uncomfortable. But my sister, she can handle it. Anyways, that was interesting. And the other guy that was with them, the name was familiar. He looked like he was probably a bit of a toker. And apparently, I think I taught him too. I vaguely remembered him. But anyways, it was nice of them to come and speak, and we talked a little bit as well. And the lady, I was going to say the young lady, but not so young, because she was talking about she's going to retire in a couple of years. So we talked about retirement. And yeah, this was when I must have taught her when I was in my first or second year of teaching. So yeah, and that was over 40 years ago. So yeah, she'd be up there. We went over to the photo booth they had set up and we had a selfie together. So I guess, that made me feel old. But it was nice to be recognized, and she said I was her favorite teacher. So, whether she was really saying the truth or not, I don't know, but I don't care. I'm just going to pretend that, yes, I was. And yeah, so the rest of the evening was a bit of a bore. And, but I was glad that I had my sister with me because my sister can talk to anybody about anything. She's kind of like my father. My father was very much like that too. So it was good to have her along with us. So the whole evening wasn't just Walter and I staring at each other. And yeah, I'm glad I went. I was thinking I'm not going, but I'm glad I went. Okay, so what's coming up? Well, already talked about the fall retreat, about the video. Watch that today. It will go live at about 9 o'clock this morning. So you can, well, it's not really live. It's pre-recorded, but it drops, let's say that, at 9 o'clock today. So do check that out. And just a reminder that we have Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen on Wednesday. We have Pop-Up Sew Day on Saturday. And then we have Russ's Quilt Meets Worlds Sew Day as well on Sunday. So a lot of stuff happening this week. So I hope you have a great week. I hope wherever you are, the weather is at least still giving you a taste of summer if you so desire summer. For those of you that just can't wait for fall, wait. And we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.